Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll get started. We're starting the session today with just going over your designs. So since no one else is here yet, I believe only Nora and Aksa are here. So we can get started with you guys, and then whoever joins in will continue, and if not, then we just keep going. So who wants to go first? And if you can, please turn on your cameras. It does make it a little bit more convenient. Nora, would you like to share your design?
Yeah, sure. So to do that, do I just share my screen with you?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not familiar with Zoom either. So let's see how I can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. So I guess this is my design. Yeah, I don't.
No, it looks great. I like it.
It's really like simple because, I wasn't sure how to import images or do anything like that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Okay, so we can go over that for you today.
Awesome.
Okay. Did you run into any troubles when you were, apart from importing images? Did you run into any trouble while you were working with InDesign?
Well, there were a lot of things that I had pictured in my head that I wasn't really sure how to do. So
Okay.
there was a lot of Googling and YouTube
Okay.
videoing,
Okay.
how to what's it called? Have this so that it's wrap text. I had to
Yes.
figure out how to do that and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with everyone else's feedback first. So the only other person here is Aksa. So Aksa, what do you think about Nora's spread?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I think it looks good. I like the section break where the pull quote is. I think that's really unique. And I also like the title. It's bolded and nice. I think maybe for the word 11th, it could be maybe a brighter color just so it stands out more. But I think overall it's pretty good. It's simple and it fits the theme. So I like it.
And yeah, for the 11th, I was trying to find a color that kind of looks good on the white as well as the black, because that's kind of the background. So that is kind of hard. I have to find a better color. But yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. All right. Oh, we have someone else. Okay, so all right, so just looking, can you just scroll down a little bit for me slightly? Yeah, okay, great. So your spread looks good. I really like I like that you went down the exploration route instead of just trying to get everything right. I like that. I love the way you laid it out, and I love the drop cap with the eye. I'm just gonna get a little technical with the design. So for example, when we start off, so is there a reason why you chose the typeface that you did for your headline?
When you say typeface, you mean the font, right?
Font, yes.
Yeah, okay. No, not really any reason. I mean, I use the same one for the pull quote, and I just kind of like that font, but
okay. Yeah, sometimes you just like it and you just want to use it. I think the font works well. The only thing I'm having trouble with is, so the 11th, so when you make your headline all caps, right? There is no reason for something else that's also related to the headline to be in upper and lowercase.
yeah.
So it's about consistency, right? So if you want to make your headline fully, for example, uppercase, then the other part, if it's about creating hierarchy or kind of creating contrast, then what you could have done is, for example, life's hour could have been just the normal bold typeface, and then 11th could have been in a different could have been stylized, so it could have been all caps, and it could have been italicized. So if it's about creating contrast, right? So contrast, you don't have to, it's not only about with color, it's also about weight and how you lay it out as well. Or maybe even life's hour and then 11th could have been smaller underneath it and could have been spaced out, but all caps. So you just want to be careful with that. So your headline, if one bit of it is fully caps, then you have to make sure that everything else is also all caps. Okay, so I like the drop cap. When you're doing wraparound boxes, you just want to be careful. So the thing with doing wraparounds is, for example, I can't, if you want to move your mouse cursor towards the second column. So you see how everything is left aligned, right? And because it's left aligned, it's not really creating that box for you. So for example, if your left column was all left aligned and your right column was all right aligned, then it would have created a much nicer shape, right? But the problem with that is it challenges legibility and readability, right? So what you can do is have that wraparound box, but maybe have it to the left of the column. So it kind of, so the text on the right wraps around it on the right. So you can do something like that. You want to be careful with hyphenations. You don't, when you're doing a quote or you're even in your paragraphs, I see you're supposed to make sure that you have hyphenations off, because it creates a weird break for the reader. So as you're reading, and then there's a break, and then you have to go all the way to the other side. I think your text box width is good. Just watch out for your widows, like you're very close where it says heat, because of that wraparound box, right? I think the name and the age is good. It doesn't all have to be clumped in together. You can spread it out. So you can maybe have it laid out to the side of the spread. Page numbers. So even numbers always start on the left and odd numbers are on the right. So 2, it would technically be 2, 3 instead of, or 3, 4. Oh, no, sorry, or 4, 5, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I think the spread is well designed. You do want to create some sort of, when you're working with typography, especially, you want to make sure that you have a sans serif typeface in there. Sans serif typefaces are great for headlines, usually because they're big and it's clear. For your body paragraphs, I would keep the serifs, but you don't have to. Like, for example, if you want to use a serif for your headline, then I would do a sans serif for your body copy, just because it's easier to read even in body copy. And you have to also be careful, because the weight of your body text, the typeface that you chose, the weight of it slightly matches the weight of the headline. So it's making it difficult to create that hierarchy. You need some things to stand out more than the other. I see that you've done that through color, and even like with short story fiction, you've italicized it. That works, but you just have to make sure that I would actually put it down to either make your headline a serif and your body copy sans serif, or keep your body copy a sans serif and vice versa. But other than that, I think you did great. Don't forget to drop down a background behind that, or else it's gonna print as a PNG with whatever color. Yeah, I think it's great that you just explored with it, and you just kind of did what you felt like worked for the article. Other than that, I think you did a great job. Any sort of other concerns, questions, clarifications?
No, not really, but I just want to ask, when you say to drop a background behind it, like, what do you mean by that?
So just a shape. So if you just select the square shape right there, and then pull from the top left corner to the bottom left corner, bottom right corner.
All the way from here?
Yep. So all the way from the bleed.
Oh.
And then, oh, so you have your, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, you could just turn that off. And then your background color can literally be whatever you want it to be. It can be white, it can be an off, like sort of a grayish grayscale color, or it could be black, it could be anything you want. And then you know how to send that to the back, right?
How to, sorry?
Do you know how to bring your other, you know how there was
Oh, yeah.
information behind it?
Sorry. There you go. Okay.
Great.
And
Yeah.
then just obviously the color, yeah.
Yes, and you have to make sure that it goes all the way out to the bleed. All set.
Oh, okay, okay. I see that.
Yep. And that's it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for your feedback. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thank you for sharing, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
Okay. Who's next? Okay, Aksa, do you want to share your screen?
I'm gonna be honest. So I was planning to do my spread over the weekend, but I got sick. So I spent like most of my weekend kind of in bed. So I didn't really have time to make my spread yet. But I could work on it during the meeting, and then like maybe by the end of the meeting I can show you.
Sure, no worries. I hope you're okay. I hope you're feeling
Yeah,
better.
I'm feeling better now. Alhamdulillah.
Great. Sabah, I don't know if you.
Yes, that's me. So honestly, I did not have any time this week whatsoever, but I will try to get on it.
No
as soon as
worries.
possible.
So what we can do actually is, Nora, if you want to share your screen again, let's go over, let's look over your spread and build on that.
Okay, let me go back. I don't know why that's in there. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be so slow with like the technology.
No, we're all learning. It's okay.
Okay, so this color.
Okay, so let's start with your headline. So if we were to change that to, that works. Okay, so okay, just off the bat, to make it a little bit easier, so in InDesign, you don't technically have to create a separate text box for everything, okay? So you can have, even for your headline, if life's hour is supposed to be in one style, or even if it's not supposed to be in one style, but it's one word, like in one sentence, then you can have it in one text box. There really isn't a reason to have multiple text boxes. It just makes your life more difficult, to be honest. Just keep one text box. So if you want to add the rest to that. So if you select the whole thing, so if you do Command A or just highlight it all, you should be able to change the point size to whatever you'd like.
Okay.
So yeah, and it'll change it for both of them.
Okay, nice.
And then same goes for your tracking and kerning. which is just, yes, that's your lighting. Okay, so what's happening is if you go back to your, hit V on your, no, actually select the, yeah, so select the move tool. And then extend the box. Keep going. Yeah. Yeah, that should be good. And then double click into the box and do Control A. And then now do, you're gonna pull up your text box tool. So you're gonna do Control T. Yeah. So
Oh,
now, so this is where all your tools are, okay? So you can, for example, in the point size tab, type in 80, enter. And then in your leading, which is the one right beside it, type in 80. There you go. So if you need it to be slightly like the space to be tighter, then you can go 75.
if I wanted it to be like askew, I could just press the space button. There's like no specific.
So I wouldn't do a space button. I would just do tab. I would just tab.
Okay, yeah, nice.
So for example, so the kerning here, the tracking between the letters isn't working, right? So we want to make it slightly tighter. So just select everything again, and then you want to bring it to, let's just do 0 for now.
This one's the one that brings it in, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so now, so let's move on to the 11th.
Mhm.
So the 11th, let's make it all caps. So if you just select it all, do you see the 4 lines on the right in the character tab? The 4 lines at the top underneath the X in the character tab?
Oh, here?
Wait, where's your mouse?
Oh, does it cut off the page?
Oh, no, at the bottom. So you know where, the character tab that we just opened, Control
Oh,
T?
right.
Do you see the 4 lines at the top right?
Oh, here.
Yeah, if you click that, there's an option that says all caps.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Handy.
Or it's also at the top. Do you see how it highlighted at the top, the 2 T's at the top?
Oh, yeah, I see it there.
Okay, so now you're just gonna extend that box. Okay, is that a period at the end?
It's a hyphen. I know that the word 11th hour was like hyphenated, but I know it doesn't really look that great. So I was wondering if I could just omit it.
Oh, so it's life's 11th hour.
Yeah, I think 11th hour.
Okay, so that's where you also have to be careful because the way you had it laid out, I read it as life's hour and then 11th. So that's where hierarchy is important, right? So I wouldn't mix the order up.
Yeah.
You can do something like I mentioned earlier where life's 11th can be just a regular. So does 11th elephant, does the elephant typeface, does it have a font family? Does it have different
It does not.
styles?
I don't think so.
So again, so here, choice of typeface. So when you guys, Aksa and Saba, when you guys go to work in on your spread, you want to choose a typeface that has multiple options. So for example, if you go to go up, sorry, scroll back up, search Bedoni up at the search bar, just hit B on your keyboard.
Oh, is this it right here?
Yes.
Okay.
So Bedoni has 11, there's 11 different styles that you can do. So for example, if for life's hour, sorry, Nora chooses to do bold, and then hour can be italicized. You
Yeah.
want to pick a typeface that gives you options. So that way you don't struggle with making sure that there's hierarchy, there's consistency, and yeah. Okay, that works. Yeah. One of the reasons why we stay away from using serif typefaces for headlines is because headlines are normally meant to be in all caps, right? It just looks nicer. And the only perk about serifs is the ornamentation. That's the only, like, Life's Hour would have looked so much nicer if it was in lowercase. But it doesn't make sense to make your headline lowercase. You want it to be all caps. So that's why you always want to go with a sans serif typeface for your headlines. Okay, so Nura, do you want to just fix that up quickly?
Yeah, sure. So let's do it.
And Aksa and Sabah, if you guys have questions, feel free to just ask.
Actually, I wanted to ask something about like pull quotes.
Mhm.
So earlier, I think you mentioned something. You were saying something about them like standing alone or being off to the side. Is that what you were saying?
So we were actually talking about the wraparound effect that she has around the pull quote. So I was talking about hyphenation. So when you work with pull quotes or even body copy, anything, unless it's headlines and you want to do it to stylize it, you want to make sure that the hyphen option is turned off because it doesn't look nice. Also, I was talking about how the wraparound box here it's sort of making it kind of hard to read, the pull quote, and also because it's centered and then everything else is left aligned, it doesn't work. So with your pull quotes, you can have it like that. But for example, if you're doing that wraparound effect, I would have it off to the side. So maybe it's on the left side and it's right aligned, and then the body copy is all running on the right side. That way, if it's centered like that, it looks odd, right? It's not really a square wraparound. It's creating this weird shape that is making it hard to read. It's kind of like, what comes after the word he? Do I jump to the pull quote or do I go to the next paragraph that says seeking refuge, right? Does that answer your question, Sabah?
Yeah, it does. So I
wish
had another
there-
question. Oh,
Oh.
sorry, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I wish there was a way I could just like share this with you and you could edit it yourself.
Okay, you know what? Can you, since there's no images, if you just go file.
Yeah.
And save as. Give it a title. Yeah, and then just save it and then drop it in the Slack group.
Okay.
Just a quick question. So when I'm recording on Zoom, and if I switch tabs, does it record the tab or is it still only recording the meeting?
It records your sharing screen, and while you're sharing screen, you're switching tabs. Unless you open one specific like software or tab, it will be fixed on that. Otherwise, if you said I want to share my entire screen, it's like I think it records your entire screen.
No, I meant if I'm not sharing my screen.
Oh, so then it's just going to focus on what you shared specifically. So like maybe InDesign only, that's what it's going to focus on.
No, I mean like if I'm not sharing my screen at all and if I'm just going to check something.
Oh, no, nothing.
Okay,
Nothing.
all right. I just wanted
Never
to make
good.
sure it continues recording. Do we have to write a short story fiction? What did you all write? Short story fiction. What did you all do last time? All right, okay. All right. Did you drop it in?
I'm just doing that now.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm not sure if I just sent, like, I don't know if that was the right one.
Just drag and drop it.
It didn't come down. Hold on, let me try again.
Okay. Oh, okay, got it. It's just downloading for me, okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna share my screen with you guys now. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I
Yes.
can see it.
Okay, so there are some errors. So the reason why everything that's highlighted in pink, it just means that I don't have those typefaces that you used. So I can either download it or use something else. So, okay, so we'll get started. Okay, so it's life's 11th hour, correct?
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll start with a sans serif typeface, okay? So I don't have Bedoni. I want to use, sorry, I have like thousands of fonts here. I want to work with we can work with this. So, okay. So for maybe life's 11th, I want to do wide, bold. And this is why it's so great to pick a typeface that has so many options, because you can really play around with your typography. So I want to do wide, bold. Extend this. So life's 11th hour. So maybe what we can do is have life's, and then 11th on the second row, and then hour can be in another type like that. Or if we don't like that, then we can do maybe more of a thinner, like that. We can do something like that. Or what we can do is have hour in the same weight as life's, and then 11th can be in medium italic. So it's kind of like that. And then you can probably tap this out a little bit more or move life's over if you want. Or maybe we don't do italics, we just do medium. So you see that little bit of weight change, right? We want to tighten the kerning because there's weird spaces. So we just come right here. And sometimes what will happen is eyes move closer, but then there's still gaps between, like, for example, the F and the I, right? So what you can do is just select the two and then tighten that up a little bit more, just so it kind of matches this. And then again, you want to make sure that this isn't too tight, right? So then that means you have to go down a little bit. Okay, so for the sake of this, I'm just going to keep this same weight as that. I want to change leading because I don't like that it's too loose. You want to tighten it up. Looser leading never really looks good. You want to tighten the lighting as much as you can because it just makes the spread look nicer. So right over here, although the typeface is nice, maybe like this doesn't work, right? So maybe we go into another font and you look for something else. To me, that slightly looks nicer, but I don't like the spacing. So I'm just going to select it and move it up a little bit. So you guys can mix and match different elements from different typefaces. You don't have to stick to one. I didn't like the other typeface. I didn't like it in the other one, so I just changed it. That's totally your call. So maybe we keep that. So we have our headline now. And then this works nicely, but maybe we can start using a serif typeface. Baskerville is beautiful. We can do regular or italics. So we can do that. And then again, go in making sure that the spacing isn't weird. And then maybe the short story fiction can be the italicized version. Do you see what I mean? So the only good thing about using serif typefaces for when you're doing lowercase is it's the ornamentation. It just looks nicer, right? Like the curves, everything just looks prettier. But when you use it as like if I were to do this in all caps, it doesn't look nice, right? There's weird spaces in between. So we can keep that. For example, to create some hierarchy, we have the color, but if we want to put Honey's name somewhere else, and then maybe short story fiction can go right underneath, our. Or it can go right up here. So it's short story fiction. So you kind of have what they can expect right off the bat, and then life's 11th hour. And Honey can probably go right over here, the name. And you can have that color there if you'd like, but you don't have to. Or maybe Honey's name doesn't go there. We rotate it to add some direction to the piece and have it off to the side. So the name right now is 20 points. So when you print this, that name is going to be huge. When we were looking at the rules for body copy last week, we said that body copy should not be bigger than 11 point and cannot be smaller than 9 point. So right now, Haneen's name is important, but we've already given it importance by changing the color, right? So there is no way that it needs to be bigger than the body copy size. So we can actually bring her name down to 8 point for the name, or because the color is a little lighter on the gray, we can make it slightly darker. It just stands out a bit more, or we're just gonna lighten up the background. Just like that. In the background. Okay, so you can actually bump that up to 9 point right there. So you can have that just like that. You already know that it's important because the color is different, but now it's also not that huge. Before, that's how big the name was. So everything now this is competing with this, right? It's the same size. You want to bring it down a little bit. Okay, so now that you have your headline, maybe we want to make this smaller. So our headline is 80 point. Maybe we want to make it slightly smaller. So it just stays on this page and doesn't bleed off to the next. And now maybe we want to bring it down here. So, and move the name here. Just like that. So they come in, there's some empty space right here. And they scroll down, you know, that's title, and then it just flows into this page. So now the drop cap works great. So did you actually put this in separately, or did you use the drop cap option?
I put it in separately. I wasn't sure there was a drop.
And then did you do a wraparound on this?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so a few things. So when you do that, you're actually, for starters, when you do the drop cap, this isn't aligned with this, and the top isn't aligned with this, okay? So when you do a drop cap, there's actually a way to do it. Here, so when you open up your paragraphs tab, drop caps, right here. So when you open up your paragraph tab, you can just do that by going to type paragraph. And the 4 lines right here, you want to click on that, and there's an option called drop caps and nested styles. So you want to make sure that the I is highlighted. And then right here, what happens is, how many lines do you want that I to cover? So let's turn on preview so we know what it's doing. So I'm saying that I want the I to be 5 lines kind of, you know, long in length. So when I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how tall the I is now, but you don't want to go more than 2 or maximum 3. But now if we do that scale for descenders, so when we do scale for descender, what that means is we're making sure that that I lines up with the bottom of the second paragraph, the second line, sorry. It lines up with the second line. And before we had that, it slightly matched it, but it didn't. So you just want to make sure that that is checked on. And then if you press OK, now you have your drop cap. Okay. So now what we also want to be careful of is the leading in the body copy. So the leading, your point size is at 10 and your leading is at 14. That's okay. Like you can do that if that's how you want to design it. But leading and the point size should kind of match. So if your point size is 10, your leading should not be bigger than 11 and should not be smaller than 9. But when you're using a serif typeface, you want to be careful, because what happens is that, do you see how that B is touching the G? So that happens with serif typefaces. So you want to make sure you bump that up again, and now you're not running into that problem. So 10, 10, that's like perfect alignment. If you go 11, you're slightly making it bigger, which is perfectly fine. So we want to do that. And then right over here. So okay. So first things first, we want to, okay, so we have to make sure that we're just going to do Command A or Control A to make sure that everything is the same. I'm going to do 10 point right here for the leading. So now the leading and all of them are the same. We want to make sure that we're turning off hyphenations. So when you do Control A, Command A, in your paragraph tab that we just opened by going to type paragraph, you want to uncheck this box that says hyphenate. And what that does, it gets rid of all the hyphens in your body copy. So now that that's done, You want to be careful with your kerning, so you might have to go in between individual letters and loosen that up slightly, but also make sure that the overall kerning isn't too bad. So if we do -10, then you have to go between letters like T and H and loosen that up again. And then make sure that these are spaced properly. So this is why we technically stay away from using serifs so much, because if you're not, it takes years of practice to make sure that the way you have to know how to correct every little one of these mistakes, because when the reader is reading it, right, they run into it. For someone who's reading it for the first time, they'll notice it. But for us, like as a designer, like when you keep looking over it, you miss mistakes, right? You miss them sometimes. But anyone who reads it for the first time, they'll notice it. So for example, we're using Minion Pro. Minion, please stay away from Minion Pro. Do not use Minion Pro for your body copy. It is one of the worst typefaces to use. Let's say I want to use Baskerville and I want to do regular. So Baskerville is a little nicer. You won't get those random spaces between the letters, but you want to make sure. So like you see how that space between that period and that T is way too big. So you should technically have a space, but what you can do is you can probably tighten that up a little bit so it's not too odd. And then what you can do is just select this and paste it, and paste it between every place that you run into that. Yeah, and then, okay, so what I meant earlier about this box is, for example, I want to close that text box. So now I have 2 columns and I want to move these to the side. What I can do is have it like that. You can have your pull quote like that. So this way you can, if I want to do left align on this, or I can do right align, and again, making sure that hyphenations are off. Let's do something along the same font family. Or what we can do is pick this, and then our body copy, actually just leave that, and then get rid of hyphenations. We can do something like that. So now not only is this connecting with the typeface of the body copy, but it's also looking nice as you're creating this consistency, right, between the text copy and your pull quote. So you can actually make your pull quote slightly smaller and wider, like that, and then just open this up. So your bounding box, you need to make it okay. So I can have that start right there, and then it just goes and it flows better, right? So for example, if I put that off to the left side, then I can have my next column start up right here. And now we have a spread that just, it flows nicer, right? And then we can have it start up right here if we want. Okay. So that's what I meant with the bounding box being on the left side. So just so you're not creating any weird. So if I put this right here, it's creating this weird shape, right? We don't want that. So we just want to keep it on the left side. So that works nicer, right? It creates this really nice shape. And then you still know that you're continuing the text this way. Okay, and then I would just close this in and open this up right here. Okay. Questions so far?
I wanted to ask, what's the font name for the headline that you used?
So I used Obviously, so that's the name of the typeface. This is the typeface that we used for the previous issue. There is a brand style guide that I still have that we made for the last issue. I did share that with, I think I shared it with Axa. Did I share it with Axa or did I share it with someone else?
Oh, you shared it with me. I got it.
Yes. Yes. So I shared it with her. I'll drop it in the designers channel and so everyone can take a look at it. But essentially that PDF has everything from point size to headline to colors, everything. But whoever is leading your next issue, they'll be giving you a style guide for that. What was I gonna do? Yeah, so page numbers, even numbers are always on the right, odd numbers are on the left. Maybe we want to pick that depending on whatever style you guys are doing for your magazine. I'm gonna go with the same headline font, but do it in italic. So I'm gonna just have that here. And then there's no way, the page numbers should not have to be bigger than 10 or 11 point. And then just have that left aligned. I would always do O2 instead of just do 2 or O3. And just it's 2 digits. It's because by the time you get to double digit numbers, which you will, it'll look odd in your other pages. Okay. So here, and then add an O3. And also, if you add a page number on your left page, you don't need to add another page number on your right page. Or if you don't want to add a page number on your left page, you can just add it on your right page and leave it here. Because anyone that reads it, I'm sure they know how to count. They know that if this is page 3, that's page 2, and vice versa. So yeah, so this is. And then, okay, so if we want to stylize this a little bit, so this blue that you use right here, maybe I want to draw a little shape because this page is lacking some color. Oh. Okay. So I can just do the color picker if I hit I on my keyboard, or just take the eyedropper tool from right here and pick this color from this text. And this is curved. Why is it curved? And then I can add this right here just as an element, or I can add it up here because there's that space. And then maybe even if you have an image, let's bring an image in, okay? So for example, I have some space right here and I want to drop in an image. This box, the rectangle frame tool right here, right above the shape tool, you just want to drag a normal shape. It can be a square, rectangle, or anything. Then you want to hit Command D or Control D on your keyboard. And I don't have any images here. I'm just going to bring in the scan, okay? So I'm going to bring that in, and then now you have an image. So what's happening is this image, so there's this box and then the image is inside that box. So when you hover over it, a circle pops up. If you click on it, now you can actually move that image inside the box. So images work the same way as you want to make sure that the image the size cannot go past right here. This tells you how big your image is. You can never exceed 100% because the minute you go to 110%, you're losing resolution in the image. So images cannot be bigger than 100% of its natural size, but it can be smaller than that if you want it to be. And to size it down the same way, you have to make sure. So I want this image inside this box to be sized down. So I would just click on that circle and an orange sort of box appears. And then I just want to hold Command and Shift, or I can just hold Shift and size it down. So you see how it's not in the box anymore? If you hover and click on that circle again, you can pull that image back in. So just select and bring it back in, okay? And then just, I want to keep sizing it down, but now it's not fitting the square anymore, right? So two things, I can either just change the shape of my of this photo, or I can just size it big enough so it fits that square shape right there, okay? So that's how you bring an image in. Any questions?
Yes, when we're working on the magazine, in terms of like adding images, like I'm assuming we can't just use random like pictures off Google. How does
So in the last issue, that's not what we did. We had to make sure that the image actually works with the content of the written content. Whoever is your design lead will give you images for the article if the article has images. If it doesn't, then they'll tell you, look for an image. When you are looking for images, you're going to be looking for stock photography, right? And you want to make sure it's free. So a great website is unsplash.com for stock for free imagery. But even though it's free, you want to make sure that you still credit whoever took the photo. So crediting whoever took the photo can be the same way you credited, the author. You can just write underneath the image, you can have their name, okay? It's a good habit to get in because like even though they're putting their work out there for free, it's good to give them some recognition, because like obviously anyone who has their work out there, they want to be recognized, right? So we can do that. Maybe I want the image up here. I want the image up here and maybe have this bar right here. So now we have some color and we can have the image go fully out to the bleed. So because our image isn't 100% of its natural size, if I just click on the shape image, I can just size it up. But yeah, so we can just size it up and then double check, it's at 79%. So we're still okay. So we can have that image right there. And then we added color right here. Okay, so that's our spread. Questions, anyone? No? Okay. Okay, so when you go to say, I'm done my spread, now I have to give it to the person who's handling the master copy, right? What I do is, so you don't need, unless you're designing more than one page, you don't need another page up at the top. You can just delete that, but you see how that happens, right? So what you want to do at this point, so your spread split. So what you want to do is select both of them. So you just click on it and then hold shift and select the other one. You're going to right click on the pages and you're going to deselect allow document pages to shuffle and right click again, deselect allow selected spreads to shuffle. So now you can shuffle these pages and put them side by side by just dragging them and moving them side by side. So now you have one full spread, okay? So the way you guys will do it is you will just go file, file save, and then you can't, so the minute you start adding images in, you need to package your file, because if I just save this and give them the file, when they open it up, the links will be missing. We talked about links last week. We want to make sure that the image, that the person getting the file also gets the images. So what you just do is you go file, package. So what this dialog box appears, and this tells you everything. So this tells you that you use 7 fonts in this document. None of them are missing, they're all there. You used one image that is using RGB color space. So what's wrong with this?
we can't use that type of color? We need to use CMYK.
Yeah, so I'm just doing it for the, for rushing it. But for example, actually, let's just fix it. So if you click on the image and then you right click, you can go directly to edit with and then just open Photoshop. Is it sharing my screen? No, it's not, right? Let me just, oops. Share Photoshop. Okay, so now I'm in Photoshop, right? So to change the color space for the image, this was an RGB. What you do is you go up to image and you go to mode, hover over mode, and you're going to go to CMYK. So now your image mode is CMYK, so it's ready for print. Now all you do is go file, save as, make sure you save it as whatever name it was saved as. I'm just gonna save it on my computer. That's the blurb that was written there, and I'm just gonna do save. I will just do JPEG, and actually let's just name it. So I'll just name it A and save it to my desktop. Save it as a JPEG, save. And then so now on your right, it's going to tell you quality. So your quality should always be at 100%. You know what? I'm going to show you guys how to export another way. So don't export that way. You're going to go to File, Export, Export As, Format JPEG, Quality, Great. And you're just going to export it, save it wherever you'd like, and then now it's saved. We're going to go back to our, let's just go to desktop. Can you guys see my screen? Hello?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can see the InDesign document, right? Okay, so now,
yeah, InDesign, right?
Yes. Yeah?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna delete this. I'm gonna bring in the new image that we saved. That's in CMYK. So if you just do Control D or Command D again, go to your desktop, select it. There we go. So now our image is back in there. So we're gonna go back, File, Package. So there's 7 fonts being used. None of them are missing. Okay. So if you do file save, it should update it automatically. Sorry. Oh, okay. Is this? Let's open this image back up. File, image mode, RGBs, change that to CMYK. File, export, actually we'll just do save as, computer, save. Export as, great quality. And we're just gonna export that, save, replace. And then we'll go back here. And hopefully it should. Why is it doing that? We're just going to save it as a PSD file, okay? So when you change the mode from image mode, CMYK, you're just going to do File, Save As, and we'll just save it as a PSD. So right here, Photoshop, so it'll be a.psd, save it to your desktop, and then same thing, you just bring in the file, Command D, a.psd, and then go File, Package. So now 7 fonts used, 0 use of RGB. So now we know that's all in CMYK right here. 4 process inks. That just tells us that it's CMYK. We go down to fonts. So right here, this shows all the fonts that we've used. Links and images. There's one image found in CMYK and it's linked. Colors and inks, it's 4-color process, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. print settings, you don't touch that. External plugins, you don't touch that. So just go back to summary and then we're going to click package. Save your document. So you can name the folder whatever you'd like, but right over here, and then just press package. Okay. Now we have a folder. So when you open this folder, if you were to send me this folder, when I open this folder, I now have a .indesign file. I have a .idml file. So what this file is for example, I have a newer version of InDesign and you have an older version. I can't open the older version of InDesign on mine. So I won't be able to open the InDesign.indd. I would have to use the .idml so that it automatically changes the formatting and everything. You will also have PDF in here, as well as all the links. So all the images. Okay, any questions?
You kind of cut out for a little bit.
What did you guys hear up until?
I think it like cut out when you were explaining the file, how it's if it's an old file, old InDesign file.
Okay, so your InDesign file is just your normal file. When you see a .idml, this just means that, for example, if Nora used an older version of InDesign and I have a newer version, I can't open the older version. So I can just, instead of having her download the newer version or update, I can just open a .idml file and InDesign will automatically locate everything and will automatically make sure that it fits my space, okay?
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. And then in this folder, you also have your document fonts, which is all the fonts that you use inside the document in your spread, and then links, which is all the photos that you've used. So if I were to send this file and this was missing, and if I were to open this InDesign document, that image will be missing. I have it on my desktop, that's why I'm just doing that, but that image box will be gray. So you want to make sure that you don't touch any of the files. So do not delete any of the files from this folder. Just whenever when you package it, make sure that you see an IDML and InDesign, a PDF, document fonts and links. And then all you're going to do is just compress it. I'm sure you guys know how to compress a file, and then just send it off to whoever is handling the master copy. Okay. Questions?
I have a question. So after everyone's like finished designing their spreads and you have to send it off to the printers, like how would that process work?
So do you guys, I don't know who's going to be handling the master copy. Is it you?
Yeah, I'll be doing it for this issue.
Okay, so what happens is your master copy, it means that you have every single page from the cover to the back cover, all the spreads in one document, okay? So it's the same process. So you know how we just went through and packaged it?
Yeah.
You do the same thing, and then what you do is you just send the PDF file to the printers. Okay.
Yeah.
So in your PDF file, so when you go file, package, so for example, saying it's a print, links, images, summary, just package it. Okay, no, so you don't have to package it. So you can package it. What you're going to do to send it to print, you're going to do file and you're going to do export. And you want to have your format to Adobe PDF print. You can save it anywhere you'd like. Save, and then now you have this dialog box that opens up. So up here, Adobe PDF preset, you want to make sure it's set to high quality print modified because we're going to be making some changes. So high quality right here, you don't want to just set, you want to make sure you get modified, and then you want to make sure that you're exporting your spreads as you're exporting your document as spreads and not pages, because if you do pages, it won't be side by side. So you do spreads and then all pages. So now if we go to compression, you do not touch this. Marks and bleeds, you want to make sure that you use document bleed settings and you have all crop marks. So this would mean bleed, registration, color bars, and everything, and I'll show you what that means. You don't touch anything else here, okay? So now I know that everything's good. I click export, print ready. Now, this is what you're going to set so important. Notes that they have to cut off. Okay, let's try my internet something. Can you guys hear me?
You cut out for a little bit again.
What part did I cut off at?
I think it was after you like exported it and then
So
you were talking.
you saw how I exported it, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so after that, I just opened up the document. So I just opened the document and I was just running over what the printer is going to see, right? So these color bars just show that it's in CMYK. Crop marks right here. So this right here is your bleed mark, right, that we use. So the printers know that they have to make sure that they cut off right here, okay? This right here is the date and timestamp. You don't have to worry about that. That's just all for example, if you were working for a design company, then sorry. If you're working with a design company, then they just want everything timestamped. You don't have to worry about that. And they know where the pages bend and everything like that, okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. All right, so now, okay, so we were actually gonna go in and so I showed you guys how to change color mode in photos. And we worked with page numbers, bleed, exporting. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, no? Concerns, clarifications? Like, is there something that you guys are thinking of doing in your pages that you want to kind of know how to do that I probably haven't covered yet?
I was looking at like the old issue and then how some of the text kind of went off of the page a little. Like I know there was this one page in the issue, like a completely black page, and then the text was going upwards one way and then like down the other. I was wondering like how you would be able to do that.
So, and that's fairly simple. So if we want our text to go bleed off the page, we have to turn it into outline. So before we do that, we have to keep a copy of this. So if you just do Option and drag, or just do Command C, Command V, keep a copy, you have to turn this into outline. So if you go to Object, create outlines, outlines. Object. Sorry, give me 1 second. I only know like shortcut commands and it's so much faster. So we're just going to do shortcut commands, okay? So you're just going to do Command Shift O and it's convert it into outlines. So now if I want this to bleed off the page, I want it to go maybe all the way up to the red line, and then maybe I want to make it like that. So life is cut off right there, right? And then if I copy it and maybe rotate it if I wanted to, and bring it so it's cut off the same exact way. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Or for example, if I have life's 11th hour here, if I have life's 11th hour right here, and then you see how hours getting cut off,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
can do something where I can have it come up here
I see.
like that. So they can see the rest of that, just like a design element. Okay.
How do you get like this preview page?
Okay, so I don't recommend using the preview page because what happens is if you work in the preview mode, you will most likely have errors where things don't go fully out to the bleed. I'm kind of used to, for example, knowing where all the lines are. So for me, it's just like I bounce back and forth. But if you just want to quickly see what it would look like if it was like fully printed, just hit W on your keyboard and it'll show you what the document will look like if it was printed. And then just you can bounce back and forth by hitting W. Okay. Or if you see this little square right here at the bottom of the toolbar, if you just hold on to it, you can hit preview.
Oh, I see.
Okay. But just W on the keyboard. Okay.
All right.
And you can have your text cut out in any way. So for example, if I want the L and I cut off, you can have it like that as well. And then maybe it comes out on this side. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, I'm in my InDesign right now, and when I'm trying to like add the text, there's like this blue like outline around the text. I was
Yes.
wondering how you'd get rid of that.
So just do Control.
Yeah, control.
What's your because are you on PC or Mac?
PC.
Okay, so mine is Command Control H. Yours would probably be, what are your options? You have Control.
I have control and alt.
Yes, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna do Control Alt H. Did that work?
Do I have to be like selecting the? I don't think
Yeah.
it worked.
You have to select, no, you don't have to, you don't have to. What's the one beside Alt that you have?
It's just like it's the Windows button. There's also function.
No, so sorry, I'm not used to PC, so or you can just do. So if you go down to okay, so when you go to view
Yeah.
and you go to extras,
Yes.
you can just do hide frame edges.
Okay, yeah, it worked now.
Sorry, I don't know the shortcut command for PC, so
It's all right.
So yeah, so anytime you want to get rid of that, you can just go view extras. If you want to see them, you can do show. If you're not, just hide them.
All right.
Okay. And then that hides it for everything.
So for the the document page setup, the purple outlines is the bleed, right?
No, so the purple is your margins.
Okay.
The red is your bleed. So for example, right off the bat, this is an error. This box needs to go fully out to the bleed.
Okay.
So that it doesn't get cut off when it's sent to the printers. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's all for now.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I just
No?
have one more question.
Yeah,
So
no
how much?
worries.
Oh yeah, sorry. How much would how much would you put the margins for?
Were you here last week?
I think I maybe missed a little of the beginning,
Okay,
but
so if you do want to go back, there is a recording, but
mhm.
basically, what you do is, let's just do a new document. Um, so when you open up a document, you want to make sure it's in inches, whatever size the document is. I think it was 9 by 12. You want to make sure facing pages is turned on. Right here. So your margins always has to be 0.25 all around, okay?
Okay.
Margins and bleed always have to be 0.25. So for example, if this, you want to make sure that this anchor is always linked, because if it's not linked, if for example, I change it for this one, it doesn't automatically change it for the rest. But if it's linked, it automatically changes for everything, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So 0.25 margins, 0.25 bleed.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. We have until 9:30. So any questions, anything that 9:30 or 9 o'clock? Oh, never mind. We have until 9. But I can stay back a little bit. And if you guys have any questions, just keep them rolling and we can keep going.
I actually had a question.
Yep.
So now, like this is as we're designing both and like getting it ready for print, what's the best tips you can give us to better prep, you know, as you're like to going from design and gathering everything into like to, you know, before print.
Mhm.
So, you know, see someone's document, what if there's like an error or here's this thing or that thing. So any tips that you can give us
Yeah.
that would better make the process go more smooth.
Okay. Yeah. So the most important thing is document setup. You have to make sure that you're setting up your document correctly. Because if, for example, if Saba doesn't set up her document properly and then sends it over to Aksa, and then Aksa tries to put that into the master document, and then she sees that the dimensions are off, it's not fitting, then it creates a lot of back and forth. You don't want that. You want it to go as fast as possible. So always make sure that you have your margins, always make sure that you have your bleed. Body copy should never go outside the margins. So this purple line, so body copy can never go out like that. It has to always stay within. It can go right to the line, but it can't go past the line. Any text that is bleeding off the page, make sure it's converted into outlines, or else the printer, it won't print it. There will be an error. Page numbers also stay within the margins. Make sure that anything that you want bleeding off the page, so that you know it has this effect, goes all the way out to the bleed at all times. That's a good thing about, you know, when you go to package it to send it to your team, your team lead, is when you go to package it, it gives you all that information, right? So if you see, for example, there's an RGB color space, you know that, okay, I have to go find the image and change the color space in Photoshop, okay? What other tips? Design wise, always make sure that there's some sort of contrast being created within your some sort of contrast within either typefaces, hierarchy with, for example, smaller text over bigger text. Use white space when you're working with typography. You don't ever feel the need that you have to fill in the document. So for example, if I have all that space, right, I'm like, okay, why don't I just fill up the entire page, right? Just you don't have to fill up the entire page. Try to leave some breathing room. So this image has to go all the way to the bleed. That's why you always have to, if you're going to work in preview mode, just keep bouncing off on the W key and to make sure. Just, you know, just try to have fun with it. Don't fill the pages up. Don't feel the need to, you know, have to, oh, there's an empty space right here, let me put something in there. You need to give your readers breathing room, because especially since it's more articles, you want them to flip through it and be like, okay, I'm reading this, so that they're not overwhelmed by something else. Okay, so just making sure that you have this sort of balance being created. The colors that you choose throughout your spreads is consistent. Let's just go over the guideline that we created. So this is a style sheet that we created, myself and the other lead designer, Hedslin. We created this style sheet together. So this was a style sheet that we made and we passed it on to all the designers. So this tells them that we're using 2 colors along with black. And our black and white is, you always use it, but these are the 2 colors that we use in the issue, the pink and the blue, so that they know that these are the exact hex codes or CMYK values. Folios, telling them exactly what the folios are going to look like, what the typeface is and how big it is. Lead in, so for example, this exact thing. So you know how you have a paragraph and then maybe you want to highlight one part of the first sentence. We did this with the previous issue because like it matched the style. You don't have to do it with this issue. You can do it however you'd like. But you see, like we have exactly what the typeface is and exactly what the point size is and what the leading is and the kerning is. Okay, so 10 point with a slash, that just means the leading and kerning. Body copy, same thing. So the rest of the text is Avenir Roman, left align, 9 point with 10 point leading. Okay, pull quotes. We kind of stylize pull quotes differently in every page, but this is, we did 2 different styles. So one was obviously black italics, 74 point and 58 leading, or pull quote option 2 was obviously black italics, 74 point and 58 point leading. And then article headings, same thing. We provided all the typefaces and then article heading option 2. So we had sort of 2 options so that so that the pages all didn't look the same, but it was still consistent. Okay. But yeah, so Aksa, you would be creating something like this and passing it on to all the designers. So that just means that you can gather with all the designers and you guys can pick your typeface, and then you can go in and pick what size and leading and specific colors and stuff like that.
Would you have like, oh,
sorry.
You can go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, sorry. You brought this up, I'm guessing because you're directing it at her. Is this something that was recommended that we do every issue kind of thing?
So the thing with the style sheet is when there's like more than 3 to 4 people working on an issue, you style sheet, or else everyone's going to start doing their own thing, right? And then there goes consistency, and the magazine's not going to look the same. Okay.
No, that answers my question. Thank you.
Is that okay? Sorry.
I understood what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is just like a good thing, especially with typography. Images, you guys can do it however you'd like. Like for example, if Access like images are different, right? But whatever colors and stuff like that. But if you're doing stock images, just make sure that your the colors and values in your images sort of match your overall theme. Okay. But yeah, so that's the style sheet. Aksa, I know you had a question.
Yeah, I was just asking, like, what would be your tips on finding like the right typeface, or because where would you like get it so that all the designers like have access to that same font?
Okay, so since you guys all have Adobe, what you do is if you go to your Adobe Creative Cloud, open it up, scroll down to manage fonts, hit browse more fonts, okay? And then this opens up Adobe Fonts. I have to sign in. Sign me in. Okay. So for example, if we're looking for a sans serif typeface, that is what we did last time is we actually looked at font packs. This way you have a full font family and everyone can grab it. So this is the one that we used last time. We didn't use all the typefaces in it. We actually just searched up. So when you get here, say you want to do sensitive typeface and you want to do geometric. So this will pull up all the typefaces. Sorry, I was looking at something. So my voice. So this will give you a whole bunch of options. And if you click view family, so this typeface specifically has 12 fonts in this font family. So you can go with this one. You can literally scroll through this and find whatever font that you think works. So Railway is a great font. And it has 16. And all you do is you just click activate. And then it activates the font. So when you go back into InDesign, and say I want to change this, search up Railway, and it's already there. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And if for any reason someone can't find, for example, if like Aksa, you have to make sure that you have access to whatever font you're using. But if someone else on your team doesn't have that, then what they can do is just do a placeholder type of font, and then when they send it over to you, then you can just change your typeface quickly in the master copy. Okay.
I had another question actually.
No worries.
So we were just discussing about like how we're sending it off to the head designer, right? So do you suggest that's the best method of when you're working in a design team, or is working out of like the cloud a better way to do this?
No, so when you're working on editorial, when you're working on a magazine, someone needs to have a master copy. One person needs to have the master copy, and they're the ones that's gonna send that to print. So for example, Saba and Noura, you guys finish your spreads, you package it, you send it over to Aksa. Aksa takes it, sees, like, for example, Noura did pages 2 and 3. She goes and puts that in order, so 2 and 3. And then Saba's pages, 5 and 6, you put that in. So this way, one person has that entire document, and everyone else just doing their spreads. And then what Aksa can do then is when she scrolls down through all the pages, Aksa, you're going to be looking to make sure that the pages are consistent. One page doesn't look totally different than the other. You want to make sure that there are certain elements. So for example, if I have this box here, then maybe on the next page, it can be like a rectangle that's sort of longer. It's still the same color and same element, just presented differently. Okay. So you have to go in and make sure that you have that. I can pull up the master copy for the previous issue. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Okay. I can pull up the master copy from the previous, and I can show you guys that.
Anna, while you're doing that, thank you so much for today. I also wanted to ask you, I know it's the first time these guys are doing it the way you introduced it for September. If during their design cycle, if Aksa or somebody needs to ask you certain things or just to take a look at it even, would you mind if you have the time sometime just to sort of do a quick once over and give them a final, comment? Help them a little bit if
Yeah,
possible.
no worries. When you guys complete your design or even in the process, I can hop on a call and we can go over, we can like review the entire document, and so that we're all on the same page. So we have, Aksa's, let me share my screen again. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so what happened was the designers, so there was it was myself, heads, and someone else that worked on this, and then Michelle as well. So at the end, Aksa, this is going to be your document. You're going to have the full, I think 24 pages you guys are doing. We did 40 last time. So you will have the entire 40 pages in your document. And what you're going to do is you're just going to simply scroll through them. So this isn't the final master copy. This is just the one that I have on my desktop right now. And you're just going to scroll through to make sure that there's consistency and make sure that, you know, it's looking good and everything is where it's supposed to be. So before you start dropping in people's spreads, make sure that you highlight what pages the ads are going on, what you know, your cover, your back cover. Just select and make sure that you know where all the ads are going. So for us, these 2 pages were ads, and then if you guys are doing any features, then make sure that, you know, you add like, okay, this is where all the feature stuff is going. And then, yeah, okay.
So for the ads, how you wrote ads there, would you do a Command D or Control D and just bring in the ad and, you know, drop it in there?
Yeah, so if I have ads right here, then so I have ads here, then I will just delete it. I know that's where the ads go. And then I can just draw a shape. If it's going to fill the page, make sure it goes out to the bleed, and then just Command D and drop in the image, drop in the ad. Okay. Just like that.
Okay, that's great. All right. All right, Excel, when you get started, and if you have any questions, just ask me as well. There's a couple of fixed ads, and inshallah, I'll take it from there.
Yeah, so you can just start, like Aksa, you can just start by creating, like just go start an empty, a blank document and have the full 24 pages, including cover and back. And then, you know, just go through and ask everyone like where the ads are going, put the ads in first. Then, for example, table of contents, where that's going to go. And then dedicate a spread to each article, and then tell people that this is the spread that you're doing and this is the page, that these are the page numbers. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
They know how to do the preset for the 9x12 pages, right, everybody? Like how to add the bleed on there. Is it 9.25 that they will set their pages at, or is there 9x12 and then you internally set the 0.25?
No, so you just set, so when you set up your document, all you're doing is, so when you set up your document, you don't need to, you just go file, new document, 9x12. You don't add the bleed to this setting. You just do 9x12. Your width is 9 and your height is 12. And then you scroll down to margins, 0.25 all around, bleed, 0.25 all around, and then it automatically creates it for you.
And is there a way to just put in 24 so that the whole document is 24 pages?
Yeah. So,
And what
yeah, sorry, just give me 1 second. Bleed in. So if you go back to this document, so Aksa, for example, if you're adding a page, right? So let's just, so when you're adding pages, right? So this is your cover right here, right? You want to, you see this box with the plus sign in it?
Yeah.
You just keep doing that until you get 24 pages. So your first page is your cover, and the 24th page is your back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then once you guys are fully done your magazine, then, because if I talk about this now, it's gonna get really confusing. So once you're done your magazine, like you're fully, your design and everything is done, what we'll do is we'll talk about setting this up for print, because when you set it for print, page 24 has to go beside page 1. So remember how at the beginning I told you guys, you click on the cover and you select all the pages, right? You just hold shift and then you just hit the last page. right click, unclick, allow document pages to shuffle, and then again, right click and then allow select express to shuffle. So now what that does is when you set this up for print, I'm just going to go over it briefly, but don't worry about it. You don't do this yet. Okay, actually, you do this when when you have everything in this document. Once you have everything and everything's done, how you export it is page 1 has to be beside page 24. So you see how that quickly shifted?
Yeah.
So it's not supposed to, that's what's going to happen. So that changes to page 2, but you know that the front and back cover are together. Page 3 and page, which is now page 24, are going to be side by side. Okay, so basically what's happening is from the top and the bottom, you're just shifting pages side by side, because when you print, right, the printer isn't going to print it perfectly in the order that you have in your document. You want it to make sure that you want them to know that, for example, if I have,
Can I quickly just interject here? So when I used to, everybody used to send me all of their designs, and I had a 24 page layout here, and I would just Command D and insert them in there, like whether it was a PDF or JPEG. And I just saved it as, exported it as a PDF with crop marks. So I never put the last page with like what you were just showing. As is, all I did is save as PDF and then with crop marks there, and send that to the printer, like the PDF, and they just print it.
if you're 100% sure that your printer will know exactly what that is and will know how to do it, because then you can do that totally. You can, if that's worked for you with your printer, then totally go for that. But if, for example, you're working with another printer, you always have to make sure that you're exporting your file as printer spreads, so that the printer knows what pages goes beside what, right? So because again, they're not printing single sheets and putting them together, it's being printed in signatures, right? So they just fold. So if it's worked with your printer before, because even with the last issue, we exported it as printer spreads, and that's how we sent it to print.
Okay, so just
But-
teach that. Yeah, just teach that to Aksa then. And if that worked out with them, that's fine. I'm just letting you know that I had never done that, and they never asked me to do it any other way, but I suppose they probably got it. Like they looked at my PDF, saw which one was the last page. They did whatever adjustment they had to do. They may have done that.
Okay, so then, for example, okay, so Aksa, whenever you're done, I can still teach you how to do the printer spreads, just so you know. But if what Nargis is saying, like, I think it is faster. So if that works, then we can just go ahead with that. But I will teach you how to do the printer spreads once you're fully done with the entire document.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Are we done then today?
Yes, so that's all from me. If you guys do have questions, concerns, you know where to find me. I'm in the Slack group. You can just send me a message and I'll try my best to respond as soon as I can. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. So you are, I wasn't sure if you were checking the Slack, but if you are.
Yeah, I get notifications. It just takes me a while to respond to them.
Yeah.
But I will try to respond within an hour or two.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And yeah, Aksa, you know where to go then, inshallah.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
no worries. I hope these sessions helped. And I know that the look of the magazine and everything is completely changed, but if you guys do need anything, you just send me a text and I'll do my best to help you guys. And yeah, thank you for, just having me host this. And it was really great. And I can't wait to see the next issue.
Inshallah. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself, everyone. Thank you, Sana.
All right, take care. Wait. So how do I just stop recording?
So, when you do end recording, it'll just, end the call, it's going to stop.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.